Hello, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, and in this video I'm going to be going over the astrological predictions for the next lunar cycle. Usually I make these videos ahead of time, but due to commencement and graduation with my main employer, had a bit of a delay on this, but that's okay. We can still make some predictions, and one of them was, I wanted to start off by saying that the Sabian symbol had to do with some animals parading against. So it's a group of rabbits dressed in human clothes, walking as if on a parade. And so I thought that Sabian symbol was interesting and in fact fitting, considering that there was a graduation that was going on during this time, and specifically for my main source of employment. But there's many graduations that go on during this time. So some of the things that I like to look at always is what is the ascendant, and in this situation it's Aquarius, 11 degrees Aquarius. And again, I in a lot of my talks, in a lot of my astrological talks, you'll see a kind of a slant towards interpreting the ramifications of Uranus, and the ruling planet for Aquarius is Uranus. So a lot of times, not only do I take a look at what the ascendant is, but where the actual planet is. Now, there's an art to it. There's an art to everything that you do in astrology, but especially with Uranus, when you're thinking about planetary bodies, some of the faster moving planetary bodies, it actually matters more what sign, astrological sign it's in, rather than larger planetary bodies. So for instance, it takes a long time for Jupiter. It takes about 12 years for Jupiter to go around the heavens one time. And so if it's taking 12 years, then the astrological sign that the planet resides in is not as important. It is important, not as important as if you were looking for like the astrological sign of Mercury, for instance. So that's a little tidbit, astrological tidbit, that I think is important to note, but it comes from kind of looking at these charts and the years of experience of interpreting these. Okay, so back to interpreting this chart. So let's still take a look at where Uranus is, and Uranus is grounded in Taurus. So in some ways, maybe that's a good place to be, because Taurus is a nice solid earth sign, and Aquarius has a tendency to be somewhat airy. So we then look at, of course, where the new moon is, and the new moon is in Cancer, and of course Cancer is a very watery sign, very emotional, and so trying to grapple with and trying to process emotions, things like that, of course, is a focal point of this lunar phase. But also looking at kind of now in this phase, moving back below the horizon. So when I say below the horizon, I mean all of these planets, all of these personal planets, kind of moving back. So we're still expressing a lot of the achievements that we've seen thus far, but we are starting a new fiscal year. And so when we're starting a new fiscal year, a lot of the new energies are kind of coming in and trying to start up different things. So you see in the home front, so house number 4 is home. Of course, 1 is personal, 2 is relational, through your career. It kind of starts to build as you move from house to house to house. Um, so so 3's money, 4's house. Um, so 4's house and family. Learning some of these houses, and a lot of times people are always looking at the 7th house because that's the house of your partner. Then the 10th house is another house, and we look at some of these houses as cardinal houses. So the 10th house is a cardinal house, and a very important house as well. Anyway, so now, this one, I guess, is turning more into a combination of predictions and lecturing, rather than what you're used to with just providing predictions. So, looking also at now, kind of what is going on with, with the sun and the moon in Cancer, and of course, in the first house you have Saturn, and Mars is actually within its own house, which is Aries, which is second house. So that can aid in some of the communication that may not be as robust as we saw in some of the previous charts, but can allow for good communication, initiating communication, things like that. So that's basically it that is going on in this astrological reading. A lot of water is going. Usually, in previous readings, I've talked to you about fire and earth, but the main emphasis seems to be air and water in this reading. So definitely get a lot of intellectual work done, but then at the same time, make sure to kind of understand emotions and things like that. So that sums it up. Thank you for listening.